Guys, welcome into the official line movement update here for college football week number 10. It is midday here on Friday. It's about noon as I'm recording this, maybe 1. I don't know the exact time. I can actually look up the time. Right now it is noon exactly. So this is amazing, guys, and we've got some massive line movement to get to. And guys, I'm really changing the dynamic of this video. I can just remember how the lines have moved. The thing that I was using in the past, it wasn't giving me accurate original lines. It was using the preseason lines. So I'm just going to go through every single game, give some quick analysis on it. Who do I like? Who do the sharps like? Who do the numbers like? I've got all of it in my head, so let's get right into it. We've got a few Friday night games, actually 2 Friday night games. It's UMass, it's Connecticut. The over-under's been sitting at 40 all week. Connecticut was actually 14-point favorites when this line opened. It's been bet up to 15.5. I think the only play is the under 40 points tonight in that game. And then the Oregon State-Washington game, kind of interesting here. The over-under sitting at 54. There's been a few different forecasts that have said there might be rain tonight. Apparently, they're getting a bunch of rain in the Seattle area right before the game, and then during the game, the rain should apparently dissipate and go away. We will see. There's great value according to models, according to the experts, on Oregon State plus the 4.5. I'm going to sit that one out, though. Next, we've got kind of an interesting 11:30 a.m. matchup, Air Force and Army. The over-under as low as 40, which is interesting considering Air Force is a good team. But, guys, there's a crazy stat on the over-under involving, military academies. We know they run the triple option. The under is 42-9. Involving when it's a game involving 2 military academies, 42-9 is the under. So there's 11:30 a.m. game. These kids, they're going to be tired. It's not a good situation. It is interesting that the over-under is that low. I understand why it is now after, thinking about it, but it's kind of been sitting at 40 all week. We've got Iowa and Purdue. This is a noon. Oh my goodness. So this game at noon, the over-under has plummeted. It was 43 at the beginning of the week. It was 41 the last time I saw it, and now I'm seeing it at 38.5. Wow. That is a crazy drop, and that really goes into the whole idea. Iowa has gone over in their last 3 games. We know how bad their offense is. It's probably going to self-correct, and the under will hit. Kentucky and Missouri. There's been strong money and strong vibes on Missouri. I am against that, guys. I think Kentucky wins this game. They opened the week -2. It's currently a pick'em. I like Kentucky and Will Levis because he needs to play well for his draft stock to win this game. North Carolina and Virginia. This line opens North Carolina -9.5. There's been a big narrative that Drake May could possibly struggle in a noon game against Virginia, and possibly the under 61 hits there. Ohio State opens the week -36. It immediately gets bet up to 38, and it's been stuck at 38. Everyone is in on Ohio State -38. The over-under has done some crazy things due to the massive wind gusts that are expected. We saw the over-under at 62. It's down basically a touchdown to 55.5. Crazy, crazy stuff there. Florida and A&M. I think A&M was -3.5. They're -3 right now. There is a lot of smart money on the over, which was originally 55.5. It's been bet up to 56. Maryland, Wisconsin. Wisconsin maintaining that 5-point, favorite. This is a huge game for Maryland. If Maryland wins this game, they have 2 losses right now. One of those losses was on the road at Michigan. Maryland wins this game, they get ranked. Wisconsin's been a 5-point favorite all week. Minnesota, Nebraska, this has gotten bet down. Minnesota was minus 16 basically all week. Nebraska getting some money. They're down to minus 14.5. The over-under sitting at 44.5. Texas Tech and TCU. This is another one that's been bet down. This opened minus 9.5 for TCU. Smart money was on Texas Tech. It got bet down to 7.5. It's back up to 8. The over-under hovering right under 70. Tulane and Tulsa, this has been stuck at 7.5 all week. I like Tulsa at home plus the 7.5 in that one. Western Kentucky and Charlotte. I think Western Kentucky was minus 16. They're down to minus 15.5. Charlotte's a really interesting team, and the over-under in this game has been bet up, I believe. I think it was at 71. It's been bet up to 72.5. Georgia Tech, Virginia Tech. The under in this game is an auto lock. Virginia, your typical home 3-point favorite. This game is basically a pick-em. Both of these offenses suck. It's going to be a 12:30 game, probably on ESPN3, maybe the ACC network if I had to guess. I'll take the under in that one. Next, we have Marshall, Old Dominion, a 2 o'clock game. Marshall's been sitting minus 3 basically all week. South Florida and Temple. South Florida minus 3.5. A lot of smart money on Temple at home. South Florida has 1 win. Temple is a bad team, but they are at home. They're good value plus the 3.5. Baylor is great value plus 3.5 at Oklahoma. The over-under in this game has gone all the way up to 61.5. It opened at 58. It makes sense. This is a Big 12 game. Let's not overreact to Oklahoma having 1 good week of defense against a bad Iowa State offense. I'll take the over, and I'll take Baylor covering. Georgia State at Southern Miss. A lot of smart money on Southern Miss minus the 2.5. It's basically been stuck there all week. Middle Tennessee State at Louisiana Tech. I have Louisiana Tech winning this game outright, but a lot of people like a lot of people like Middle Tennessee State. I think Louisiana Tech wins as a 2-point underdog at home, and a lot of smart money is in on the under 63 in this game. UCF at Memphis. So this line opened minus 5. It's down to 3.5 with the quarterback uncertainty surrounding UCF. A lot of people are finding value in Memphis at home plus the 3.5. Michigan State and Illinois. Guys, we've got a weather situation. Possible big wind gusts in this one. Maybe Michigan State has a big time trouble scoring here with the wind gusts. Illinois, they opened like minus 10. Although, someone was telling me that, or someone said on one of the sites that Illinois opened as minus 10. I find that very hard to believe, and then it immediately got bet up to minus 16. I don't know if that's true, but now it was kind of stuck on 16.5, and now it's gone to 17 because there's big wind gusts. We know that favors Illinois. They love running the football with Chase Brown. They're at home. Michigan State with Mel Tucker, a lot of uncertainty there. They're fighting, Michigan, they're fighting, their players are fighting. The under 40.5 looks pretty safe, although I think that's been bet down due to the wind gusts. New Mexico and Utah State, the over-under in this game, I know for a fact, was 43.5. It's gotten bet down, and there's significant value on New Mexico. I think New Mexico opened to plus 16. They're down to plus 14.5. Utah State is just not a good team, so people find the value in Utah State not being able to cover that high of a spread. And it also helps that New Mexico at least has some type of pulse. Even though they're not good, they have a pulse. Kansas, wow. So Oklahoma State opened minus 2. This line is flipped on its head. Kansas a 1-point favorite in this game. The over-under at 63. It was at 64. People found value in the under 64. Oregon, minus 31.5. This line's basically been stuck all week. We know how bad Colorado is. It just comes down to, listen, this is one of those games where it's 38-7 in the fourth quarter, and then it's like, is Oregon going to try? That's the only issue. It's a 3:30 game. I don't know. Penn State sitting minus 13.5. This line has fluctuated between 13 and 14 all week. I think it's going to be a boring game. People are worried that Penn State, the week after Ohio State, they tend to struggle. Syracuse sitting +4. I believe they were 3.5. There's been money on Pittsburgh. It's smart. Syracuse is not a good team. I think Pittsburgh wins this game fairly easily. Personally, Georgia -8. So Georgia opened -8. It went to -9. It went back down, and there's been money on the over because I think the over-under in this game opened at 63 or maybe 65. Either way, I know it didn't open up as high as 66.5. So there's money on the over, and a lot of people like the value on Tennessee. UAB opened as 2-point underdogs. That's a complete pick-em now. I think UAB beats UTSA at home personally. Washington State, Stanford. There is significant value on the over 49. I will caution people betting any over in any Stanford game when they're playing at home. It just feels like there's no energy in that stadium. All those games are low scoring. I don't know, but Washington State has a decent enough offense. Maybe it's a higher scoring game because it is only a 4.5-point spread. I think Washington State opened to -5.5. It's been bet down if I have that correct. West Virginia and Iowa State, they're playing a 3:30 game. Iowa State's been -7 for a while. The over-under's been stuck at 50. Florida International has been +21 against North Texas for a while. There is some value on FIU because they are playing better. Arkansas now -14.5. They've been trending. They were -13.5, so that line moved a point. There's been some significant movement on this Navy-Cincinnati game. Cincinnati was -20. They're down to -18.5. Man, the over-under is only 44 in that. So that is interesting. South Alabama, Georgia Southern. I think Georgia Southern wins this game outright. This line has been stuck at 4, -4 for South Alabama for a long time. I do think there's good value in the under 60 because South Alabama has a really good defense. Texas State and UL Monroe -1.5. That line's been stuck there. Troy at Louisiana. Louisiana opened as 6-point underdogs. That line's gotten bet down to 4. I like Louisiana to keep this game close because Troy doesn't have a very good offense. Alabama trending right now. They opened they opened -12. They're -13.5. I love Nick Saban to deliver a knockout blow in this game to LSU and to run them off the field. BYU and Boise State. We've got Boise State. I believe Boise State opened -7. They're -8 right now. Houston, SMU. That line's been at 3.5 for a while. Texas and Kansas State. That line has hung around Texas -2.5 for a while. UNLV, San Diego State, 6.5-point favorites. The value here is the under 47. That's where the value is. Michigan, Rutgers, this line opened Michigan -24.5. It got bet up immediately. Very similar to that Ohio State Northwestern game. It's -26 for Michigan. I think people understand Michigan has a very sound, good defense. Rutgers has a horrible offense. Rutgers is going to have a very hard time scoring in this game. That's why the over-under is only 45. Auburn at Mississippi State. Mississippi State -12.5, so Auburn's gotten some money. I believe Auburn was +13 or +13.5. They're down to +12.5 on that one. Arizona at Utah. Utah -17.5. That over-under sitting at 67.5. Any game Arizona plays is going to be high scoring because they have a horrible defense and a good offense, or a decent enough offense to score some points. We have Clemson and Notre Dame. So Clemson right now 4-point favorites. That line was 4.5. It's been hovering. Man, I'll tell you what, guys. I think there's great value on the over 44. I understand why it's that low, but I don't know, man. I think those teams could get to 44. Florida State, Miami. So Miami opens +8.5. It gets bet down. I think there's still value on Miami. This is the 7:30 ABC game. James Madison at Louisville. I think there's strong value on the over 52.5. I think it's going to be a fun game. South Carolina, Vanderbilt. I love the under 48.5. That line, I think the over-under was 49. It's gotten bet down 0.5 point. West Virginia, Wake Forest, NC State. I love Wake Forest to win this game and cover. NC State with their backup quarterback, horrible on offense, just horrible. And then I don't know where the other games went. I don't know. But guys, what I will tell you, here's a late night game right here. So it looks like they're trickling in. So UCLA, Arizona State. I thought this game was on at 9:30, not 10:30. No, that game's on at 9:30. I know that for a fact. Guys, the over-under in this game, I said it on Monday. Bet the over 62. The over-under is up to 66.5. Guess what, guys? The over is still an auto lock. There's going to be a lot of points scored in the UCLA-Arizona State game. Colorado State, San Jose State. Personally, I would say go the under 45. I'm trying to find this one. There's USC in California. USC is trending the over-under in this game. I think it opened at like 60. It's up to 61. But where is the Fresno State game? See, they don't want me to find the Fresno State game because there's so much value. Yeah, see, this is ridiculous. I'm trying to find the Fresno State game. Oh, here it is. Fresno State, Hawaii. Guys, dude, I don't understand this. Sometimes, guys, there's games where it makes no sense. Maybe I'm not looking at I'm underestimating how good Hawaii's offense is. How is the over-under 63.5? I understand Fresno State got their starting quarterback back. I get it. I mean, if it's 50, maybe I'm underestimating Hawaii's offense, guys. For the life of me, I cannot get why the general public is betting this game up, the over-under on this game. I thought when it was at 62, I thought it was the bet of the century. Now I think it's, I don't know what this is. I would say, guys, if I could give you advice, I'd say take the under 63.5 in the Fresno State-Hawaii game. Unless I'm just really underestimating Hawaii's offense. I don't know. Do we really think Fresno State's going to drop a 50 burger? I don't know, guys. It's just, it seems like a big number to me for a team that just returned their quarterback. Maybe a little bit of an overreaction. But that is the line movement here for college football week number 10. Guys, make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.